Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontraining.com. It is Friday, the 5th of June. This is our weekly recap. Hope you're all doing well. Well, what an interesting little week it's been and day here today. So if you're looking at the ES, we've been talking all week how the market felt a little tired, but it could use a little bit of a break, but wasn't going anywhere. And, we've been dancing back and forth on the 8 day, and then we had non-farm payroll today. Now, am I going to tell you we're down because of non-farm payroll? I think that was the excuse. Non-farm payroll, the number was hot. They're expecting 80,000, came in 172,000 jobs. Wages were up, right? That's quote unquote inflationary. They revised upwards March and April jobs as well. And the market started to dump on this. And you have this big move down here today on pretty good volume on the ES. And part of what's going on here is the bonds. The bond market continues to weaken. And with the bond market weakening, rates are going up. And we're seeing at the same time the dollar is strengthening, a big move up here on the dollar today. This is the market's way of saying we don't believe we're going to see any rate cuts for the rest of this year. It was already a very low chance. The market's basically saying there's zero chance here. Worse just won't have the votes in there to get it. All right, so you got this little temper tantrum going on. We also have the big IPO next week. SpaceX is next Friday on the 12th, and they're offering 75 billion shares, and there's already supposedly, there's more than double that in interest. So who can sell SpaceX? Well, that's the question we've been asking ourselves because when the IPOs, people who are already in SpaceX, they're not allowed to sell for lockup periods. And most of your brokers won't let you sell either if you get allocated. So you get allocated 135. Most brokers, Fidelity, for example, make you hold it for 15 days. You can sell it, and if you do, you get put on the one. You get 180 days where you can no longer file participate in IPOs. So that's interesting there. We talk about that. And we're going to next week we'll go over some strategies and how to deal with that, as many of us here have actually applied for some shares. So this is all going on here, and this is really what drove this weakness in the NQ. The NQ getting absolutely hammered today, and both coming down below the 21 day. Just put in the spies under the 21 day here. You have that little gap there. The Qs here also under the 21 day, right? If you look what's going on, the semis are getting smacked pretty good today, all the way down, but just under the 21 day. This was much needed. Yep, Micron here finally came in. Maybe it finds the 21 day, maybe it finds a little lower. AMD came down to the 21 day and held. SanDisk, right? Same idea. Western Digital, right? You get the idea here. ARM still holding okay. Avgo is going to absolutely shellac. Broke down here and almost filling that gap. Nvidia, for what it's worth today, dump back down this thing they haven't wanted. Here's your 50 day. We'll see what happens there. You look around, the banks had a beautiful day yesterday. They don't look bad here today, but it was really the insurers that did the heavy lifting today. And if you look under the covers, GS, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, they all just did not look all that great, although some of them holding in better than others. Energy, not much going on. XBI had a nice rotation day yesterday, and it dumped right back down here today. It's just nothing there. Look around at names like Boeing, they're getting hammered. Cat still holding okay. We saw a nice little move in Walmart today and Costco, but in general, they haven't wanted retail. Crypto is another problem. So let's talk about it. Crypto's getting absolutely destroyed. It's down here under 60,000, and this is signal some big problems. We posted some numbers earlier today of what's going on out there with Michael Saylor and such. And there's some real interesting numbers. Early this morning, Saylor's unrealized loss was $11 billion. Tommy Lee with Ethereum was over not almost 10 billion. These are going to be worse after today. We'll see what's going to happen here, but you got crypto is more than a crypto winner. It's ugly out there, right? So that's affecting things. You're seeing name like Coin getting destroyed, going down to the lows. Hood is trying to hold in a little bit better for what it's worth. Let's look around. What else? IGV, which had a nice 3 day move and has given almost all of it back here to the 21 day. Microsoft capitulating that whole move. We saw Palantir also give that whole move back, right? Oracle has earnings next week, it's holding in slightly better. Right now they just don't want these names. They're using these pops to sell into. Tesla this morning got a big upgrade from JP Morgan, which was hysterical. The JP Morgan analyst upgraded to neutral, raised his price target from 145 to 475. This has been the biggest Tesla bear out there. Obviously, this was We need to get our share of this. You need to play ball. And, that opening move on Tesla was instantly sold. And look at this here. To me, this is the biggest sign of money coming out of Tesla to go into SpaceX, right? This big down candle here today is they're pulling money out here to go buy the SpaceX IPO. Went right through the 50-day, huge down day there. Meta was holding today until news broke this afternoon that they're going to be potentially doing a massive offering like Google, and that got hit, and it also took Amazon along with it. Speaking of Google, Google holding in fine today, an inside candle that's worth keeping an eye on. Apple here, still up all right under the 8-day, but holding in okay. For this week, I traded Microsoft, Nvidia, and Apple a bunch of times. I traded GitLab after hours. I traded Meta. I didn't do a lot. Traded Meta again here today. I mean, it was just one of those days where, yesterday I didn't trade Meta at all. Didn't make any trades today. Just one of those days where, weeks where it was just the action was off. So with that, we'll see where we go next week. Next week, we're going to have the big IPO. We see money coming out. We also have the SPY rebalance after the close today in terms of who's going into it. Marvel is the suspected one. There was some call buying out there on that. And I'll do some charts on Sunday. For me, I view this as a buying opportunity. And I think if you view this as anything else, you need to ask what we actually want. We're down almost 4 or 5%. If we get down into this area and we hold, this is definitely probably a buying opportunity. I'll catch you guys live on Monday morning. Hope to catch you all. I'll put a link in the description if you want to join us.